Hey, it's Programmer's Life. Okay, so previously we talked about references in our previous episode. We tried to apply them. Of course, I remember we had a few errors here and there, but they were just weak errors. We had mistyped some concepts, forgotten some commas or separators within function parameters, but hey, that is no big deal. So here we are. We are into another episode which I promised you that I'll be talking about strings. Okay, so allow me have a fresh section. I'll say strings in C++. Now someone might say, why are you specific? Of course I have to be, because we are handling C++. Now one thing that you need to note down at the very beginning of this session about strings is that I think almost in every programming language, more so the programming languages that I've interacted with, strings are treated in a special way, in an executive way. And here we are. It is going to be a time of proof in C++ to see how strings are treated. Now, another thing that you need to know first is that string is a data type when it comes to C++, not the same thing as C, because C does not support string as a data type. It uses char but as a sequence of characters to handle what we call a string. But here we are, C++ handles a data type that is called string altogether. But before we go any deeper, someone will need to first know what is a string. Now a string is a collection or a sequence of characters enclosed in double quotes, or that is terminated by a null. Call it a null character, an escape character. Okay, just like we use new line. So there is no harm in you looking out for further and better definitions, but that is what we call a string. For example, I can say Programmer's Life. That becomes a string. I can say 2021. Now that one ceases to be a number, reason being it is in double quotes, so it becomes a string. I think we are together, guys. So basically it's a collection or a sequence of, mind about the spellings, I keep saying that, sequence of characters enclosed in double quotes, or that is terminated with or by a null. Now when it comes to C++, strings are handled in two ways. I'm saying it again. When it comes to C++, okay, strings are handled in two ways. Someone might say, hey, seriously, are you sure about that? Now this yellow bit, I don't like it, but it's coming because of what I had up here. But let me just put maybe square brackets like that. It won't allow, but I think you've seen the examples, right? So I'll leave it to that. Okay, oh, let me put it into this. So I'll say Programmer's Life. Okay, let me just leave it like that, but at least you had those examples, programmer's life and whatever. So strings are handled in two ways when it comes to C++. One, we have the C style. Style strings. Okay, someone's going to say, but me, I've not programmed in C before, but we shall look at that, no worry. Actually, I'll even do some episodes in the future to come about learning the C language. I told you I can use a variety of languages and I'm willing to share. Just keep subscribing to my YouTube channel and everything will be good. So we have the C style strings. Then we have the C++ string class, or I can say library. So those two ways. Now someone is going to ask, so are we going to look at both of them, or we are going to only focus on the one for C++? I would wish that we look at all of them. Now, just a simple hint. In C programming, it is a collection of characters. I'll note here. In C programming, it's a collection of characters as an array of let me be specific, of data type char. Okay, in C programming, it's a collection of characters as an array of data type char. Okay, but this is also supported by C++. Reason being, I've told you, strings are handled in two ways. Okay, you can either use the C style, which we've begun with, or you can use the C++ style. So this is what I mean. If it is C++, I mean C, the C style syntax is gonna be char. Okay, then I have an identifier, but this identifier is an array of characters. So example, what do I mean? I can say char my name, and my name is of a certain size. Maybe my name is 15 characters. You see that? So it means that I can even say char my name. Okay, I can say char my name, which is, we said, 15 characters, and I can assign it. I can say programmer's life, and I'll terminate. So what do I mean? I mean this is a string. This is a string variable. Okay, this is a string variable in C language, but without forgetting, we have said it is supported by C++. It has been initialized, okay, or it has been declared and initialized at the same time. So what does it mean? It means that this string here, or this variable, this character array, is containing this sequence of characters. Altogether, it contains that sequence of characters, and automatically, if you do like this, if you do like that, it is definitely terminated by a null. That is automatic. Okay, so this one is called a direct initialization. I know those guys who have done arrays, or if you have watched the previous episodes about arrays, then it really makes a lot of sense. Okay, now we have what we call indirect initialization. Indirect initialization means that I'm going to have char, and I'll say my name. Okay, my name, then I'll say 15 maybe. Now 15 means I anticipate that if a value is going to be assigned to this string variable, okay, it's not going to exceed 15 characters. So there we go. Now I've told you with a direct initialization, I'll comment again, the compiler automatically adds what? Adds a null at the end of the what? Of the string. So indirect initialization, it's the program to add the null. How is it done? Because when you do indirect initialization, it means that you focus on character per character. So each character is stored at a certain index within the array. I think we are moving. And each character constitutes 1 byte. So it means that the number of characters in a particular string, those are the number of bytes for that particular variable string. So what does it mean? It means that if I have my name, and my name is called Smile, then it means that is how characters are going to be identified. Okay, that is how characters are going to be identified. So for that case, the moment you signal the end, how will you tell the compiler? You add a null. That is what we call indirect initialization. Okay, each character is focused on independently. So once again, if you've done direct initialization, please don't put the null. This will be wrong if you come and do that. That is wrong. Okay, reason being, if you do a direct initialization, the compiler definitely knows that there has to be a null. But again, something has to be noted here. Always leave an allowance of an extra character. Always leave an allowance of an extra character. Okay, someone will say reason, let me put it in capitals, reason to cater for let me break it, to cater for the null, to cater for the null. For example, here, how many characters do I have here? These are 3, that is 6, 6, that is 9. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13. So here we are still safe. Okay, the same applies here. Here we are still safe because Smile has 3, 4, 5. We are still safe. So automatically here it will have space to add a null altogether. Now the moment you don't leave space, it means that it will consume 1 character from your string and it replaces it with a null. I'm saying it again. If you don't leave an allowance of at least 1 extra character in the space provided, the compiler is going to consume 1 character from your string and it will replace it with a null character, because in its mandate it has to assign a null. I think we are together. Now for that case, what do I mean? If I'm to use the C style of programming, let's have a simple example here. I love questions, they help us program. So I would say write a program that will accept your name and residence. Okay, it will accept your name and residence, then prints the details on the screen. Okay, then prints the details on the screen altogether. So what is going to happen? Of course, I'll come back here. This program that we did right here about references, I don't need it anymore. Okay, so I already have a template to work with. Of course, I don't need this function again too. So what is going to happen? I'll come back here. I'll say char. What does the question say? Name and residence. Okay, so I'll say char name, and name is 10. I'll say char resi, residence is 20, because we expect it to be a little bit long. See out. So enter your name. Okay, what am I going to have? I'll say cin name. Okay, that is our variable. So copy and paste is a design error. I know you know that by now, as long as you don't copy and paste errors. So enter your let's say enter your place of residence. So we had our variable which was called resi. So we can have a formal statement that will pick the data from the variables. Hey, sorry about that. Hey who? Hey, hey name. You live in. So residence will be resi. Okay, so wow, so there we go. So do we have any challenge so far? We capture the string here, capture the string variable. I told you I love comments because they help you understand. So the same thing applies here. Okay, something applies here. So Ctrl A, Ctrl C. Of course, when you reach here, it means we are going to the kitchen. Okay, we do some cooking. Preparations are done. We run. So name is Smile. Name is Smile. Place of residence is Kansanga. So hey Smile, you live in Kansanga. So it works perfectly well. Now what if I say what if I run the application? Okay, trying to run again. Now let's try to have a chance to have two names. I can say Smile Progma. Okay, Smile Progma. Now you realize that we have a problem. Okay, when I say enter your name, then I say smile progma. I have a name which is having a space, so smile then space then progma. But the moment I say enter to input the residence name, then the program just jumps out of the input. It does not even accept the input of the residence. Then it just says, hey smile, you live in progma. So which means that it chops off the second part of the name after meeting a space. I don't know if you're noticing that. So it chops off the second part of the name after meeting a space. Reason, let's try to go back here where we came from. Now remember we said we are looking at the C style of handling strings. So if you have noticed, the moment we are allowed to put a space, then we caused problems. So what does it mean? It means that the extraction operator, this extraction operator, the one that we had, this one is called an extraction operator, and this one is called an insertion operator. So the extraction operator on name and the extraction operator on residence works more or less the same as the scanf. Okay, so we can come back here, so we can still note, for purposes of remembrance, the extraction operator works more or less like the scanf, okay, of the C language. Okay, so that is how, or that is why we are getting problems. So here the solution would be using the object cin and the method get. Here the solution would be using the object cin and the method get. Now what does this mean? It means that the weaknesses that we have in implementing strings using the character type, or using an array of characters, or using the C style of programming, can be solved when we implement the mode of C++, where we apply the string class. I'm saying it again. The weaknesses that we have in the C style strings can be solved through using what we call the C++ class library of strings. So that is where we are moving next. But before we move there are still more things that we need to note. I remember when I was talking about arrays, I told you arrays have certain disadvantages and they have certain advantages. If you remember very well, I talked about insufficiency of memory allocation and wastage of memory allocation. So the same challenge comes back here. How? If you go back to the previous example that we had, for example, I declared a variable and fixed a size 15. It is very possible, like here, let me have a direct initialization. I can say char, what was the variable? My name, and I have 15. Okay, if I say 15, then here I come and say smile. Do you know what has happened? It means that among the memory that was assigned, it means these are 15 bytes, because each character is 1 byte. So if these are 15 bytes, how many have I used? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with a null character. So it means out of 15 I have used only 6 bytes. What does it mean? It means that memory has been wasted. So this means wastage of memory, because it has been allocated statically. Statically means ahead of time. Okay, I anticipate that I will be needing this much memory, and there is a possibility that I will not need all the memory, or there is a possibility that I will need even more than what you have anticipated. So definitely there could be a problem. So in case of strings, memory allocated has to be dynamic. So that is why I was telling you that the solutions to the weaknesses in the C style are handled by the C++ class. Okay, now another thing is that maybe it's a sort of an advantage. The C style is a bit faster. Okay, the implementation of the character array, okay, the one that we are handling here for the C strings, it's a bit faster, okay, compared to the one that we use in C++, though we are not yet there. Then another thing, if I've not forgotten, character arrays, or the C string version of handling strings, it does not offer really a lot of inbuilt functions that will allow us to manipulate strings. So for that case, it means that if someone is using the string class, then it allows you to define, or defines for you, a number of functionalities which will allow you carry out a number of operations to manipulate strings. So those are some of the things that you need to keep track when you are handling strings. Okay, so in the next bit, we said strings are handled in two ways, so let's try to give more time to the version that is truly implemented, or that is truly part of the language framework. So let's try to look at the C++ string class library. So I'll just copy, we shall move down here. Now here C++ has its own definition, or a way to represent a sequence of characters, and this is done as an object of a class. Okay, this is done as an object of a class. Okay, and this class is named as the standard string class. Okay, so here it will still allow you, though we have handled it under the character array, it will allow you to have a sequence of characters. Okay, now before I move any further, someone is going to ask, now you're talking about a class, and it's our first encounter with the word class. I would want to make a brief explanation on this. At the very beginning of this journey, we said that one of the characteristics of this language, or one of the features of this language, C++, is that the language is an object-oriented programming language. Now, an OOP language means that in its programming, or in its methodology of programming, it means it handles classes and objects. Okay, maybe let me note here once again. I'll say, remember, C++ is an OOP language. OOP means object-oriented programming language. So remember, C++ is an OOP language. So in its styles of programming, or flexibility of programming, it supports, and say it supports the use of classes and objects. Okay, so maybe we can be direct. Some of these classes are either user defined, or they are predefined. Okay, what am I trying to mean? I mean that the language supports classes and supports objects. Reason, it's an OOP language. It's one of its methodologies of programming, and we said it contributes to its flexibility as a language. Then we are saying some of these classes are either user defined, meaning that they are created by the programmer, or they are predefined. Now the class, the string class is predefined. I told you predefined means that that class is already part of the language. It is within the language. It is not user defined. User defined means that I, the programmer, I build that class. So this time around, the string class that is going to allow you to manage and manipulate strings within the language is predefined, meaning it is already part of the language. So what do? You just get to know the class and what is defined inside the class. Then how do you implement? But once again, someone is going to ask, what is a class? I know it's not at the right time, but I need to talk about this so that we have a smooth running in this section about strings. Now, a class is a blueprint. A class is a blueprint of an object. Okay, what do I mean? I can say, or it's a definition of an object or objects. Okay, it's a definition. Or I can say, sorry about that, or I can say a class is a collection of both properties and behaviors of objects. Okay, then someone might ask, what is an object? An object is an instance of a class. It shows, the instance means showing an occurrence, or a proof that something is available, something is around. So you cannot have an object minus a class. So it's always the class first, then the object. But if you want to know the details of that particular object, then you have to refer to the class where it's coming from. That is why we are saying an object is an instance of a class. I think we are together. So I will not go deeper since it's not at the right time, but all that I wanted to show you was that when we are handling C++ string, there is a specific class library that has all the definitions, that has all the functions that you're going to use to manipulate the strings. Are we clear? Now, what does it mean? It means that let's go directly into operations on strings. Let's go to operations on strings. Now, we have a function that is called getLine. We have a function that is called getLine. getLine allows to capture a stream, okay, a stream of characters from the user input. So the user input may regard it as keyboard or the KB. So we have a function that is called getLine. We have a function that is called Popback. Now pop is not new. For those guys who have done data structures programming, it's handled under stacks. So pop means remove, okay, but there is a main function within the class string or the string class of C++, which is called Popback. Okay, so this one is allows to delete, okay, the last character on the string. So it automatically deletes the last character on the string. If I had my string was called delete, then if I say pop back, it means E is going to be taken off. Okay, that is what it means to say pop back. Then we have another one which is also not new, which is called push back. Push means add or insert. Okay, so this one allows to add a character. Okay, allows to add a character at the end of the string. It's the opposite, at the end of the string. And I think, without forgetting, I think these two, you know, earlier when I was talking about the introduction of the language, I told you the language has what we call language specifications. Okay, I think that was the first or second episode, I don't remember well, but I said the language has what we call language specifications, and these specifications are due to the modifications based on the versions of the language. So then we said these version names come due to the years in which they were brought in or brought to the market for usage. So without forgetting, I think pop and push back were introduced in version 11, that is the 2011 version, but don't worry about that. The whole concept is about you grasping and putting those functions into your head. So we shall do that, we shall use them as we move along. Then we have another beautiful function which is called resize. We have another beautiful function which is called resize. Now resize, what does it do? Basically it modifies the size of the string. Okay, modifies the size of the string, either adding or decrementing. Okay, size of the string. We shall see how it is really operation. Of course, these functions are so many, but I'm going to give you a few so that I don't limit your level of research. We have another one which is called length. Now this one, what it does, it returns the length, okay, of the string, just the way. I think some of these things are really simple. We have another one which is really related to that, and it is called capacity. now returns the capacity located to the string. Okay, returns the capacity. Then that is in terms of space that was reserved for the string. Okay, returns the capacity. Capacity means the space. Okay, it means the space allocated to the string. Okay, how much was reserved for the string. So that is really quite important. So of course we are going to get some examples. Okay, we are going to get some examples and they will help us really understand. And there is another interesting one which is called shrink to fit. Of course it's an English word, just the way it sounds. So it decreases the capacity connected to decreases the capacity, okay, of the string, okay, to the minimum size. Okay, and we use this in most cases for saving or reservation of memory, because remember we said when we are using array of characters there is wastage. So here there is a possibility of reservation. Okay, so we really have quite a number. Then we have another one which is called copy function. So what does it do? It copies the substring in a target character array. Okay, you guys forget, copies a substring in the target character array. Okay, so now we shall see, but basically for it accepts, I'll comment here, accepts 3 arguments. Since it's a function, of course we speak about arguments. So it accepts 3 arguments: the character array, then the length of the string, and the position from which you're starting to copy. We have another beautiful one which is called swap. Okay, swaps one string with another, allows swaps of strings. Okay, I know previously we did an example that was swapping numbers, but this one is an inbuilt function from the string class, allows swaps of strings. Okay, I think that is pretty, and much more that I would recommend that guys go and make quite a lot of research. Now after outlining some of these, I think it's really beautiful that we do some practical implementation so that we really understand. But note, for such operations, to be, let's say, to be implemented, we need to include the string library. Okay, we need to include the string library. It is as important as required. Okay, so this string library, let me say string library or class, Why? Because if I say get line, definitely it is extracted from here. If I say length, it is extracted from here. If I say capacity, it is extracted from here. Why do I say that? If you remember very well, when we had just talked about functions, I told you that there are those functions which are predefined within the language. Actually, the examples that I gave were mathematical functions, but what I wanted to show you is that these functions are got from existing libraries. So the ones that I've listed here and the ones that you're going to find out, which I believe are more than what we have here, they cannot work unless if you have included that library. So which means that they are predefined and we just extract them and we use them in the program. I think we are together, guys. Okay, so what are we going to do? Let's have a simple example here. So I'm going to do this. I don't need this, of course, it has already performed its function. So I'll come here. This function, I mean this comment is not needed anymore, so I'll say using strings and its class. I think that makes a little bit of more sense. Hash include string. Okay, hash include string. So this one is gonna be needed for all the string functions. This one is gonna be needed for all the string functions. So failure to implement that, of course the compiler will have to sing for you ugly songs saying it is undefined in the scope, saying it's undeclared, or whatever. It will tell you a lot. So as usual, let's have an opening statement. If you run the program, the sense it can make, sorry about that. So we can say using C++ strings and class. Does it make sense? I'm sure it does. So some local declarations for our programs. What are we going to have? I'm going to say string string what? String episode. Let me use what we are learning right now. String episode. So episode is called C++ strings programming. Okay, by Programmer's Life. Wow, we have such a beautiful string. Okay, here we are going to do quite a lot, by the way. Like, I have so many questions now moving around my head, but of course we are going to see what that happens. Okay, now I have a string. There you go. I'm going to use static values like already on line 11. So I'm going to say here I'll display the string declared. How am I going to do that? I'll say cout. So here I'll say episode. Okay, so episode is containing string. I think we are together. Then how about which other functions do we have? we have getLine, we have pushback, resize. Which one should we do next? I think let's try to push back. How about that? Okay, let's begin from maybe where it begins. Let's use getLine. Okay, let's use getLine. I'll say cout. Cout, what do I have? Let's have another variable here. I'll say string my sample. Okay, so here I'll say cin what is this language. Let's ask something formal. What is this language? So it means that I'm going to say getLine. So getLine is gonna be cin, which is the object. Now this one expects two parameters. Okay, it will be the object, which allows you to input, then the variable that is going to store the string. So it will be my sample. So what am I going to do? Actually, let me copy and say we are going to display the string again. Okay, so this time around this one is gonna be my sample. Okay, so cin, hope you have noted that it expects two parameters. Okay, I don't need to comment on that. Then the next one, let's pop back. Let's pop back. So it means that I'm going to pop from what the user has entered. So pop back, we said it removes the last character of the string. So I'll say remove the last character of the string. Guys, I'm just helping you to learn how this can work. Now it's gonna be my sample dot Popback. Okay, it's gonna be my sample dot Popback. So this one is accessed through the dot operator. Okay, since my sample is already seen as a string object. By the way, I think I talked about this, but I can still note it down here for understanding. Every string declaration is an object. Okay, and without forgetting, where were we? Just a reminder, I said that it's a collection of both properties and behaviors. Behaviors mean methods or functions. I told you I never wanted to give it too much of my time right now because it's not at the right time, but I'm just trying to connect things here. So behaviors mean methods or functions. Then we have also what we call properties. So every object has two things. It has what we call properties and behaviors, but their access is through the dot operator. So that is what you're seeing here. That is why we are saying my sample, which is seen as an object by now. Here it is we are removing the last character in that word, any word that the user will have entered at this point here. Okay, so for us, we shall remove the character there. So what will we do? Because we need to print and see after, when the character has been removed. So I think we are clear there. Then we have, let's try to see other. Then we have resize. Guys will do for me the push back, that is the insertion, but let's try to use the resize. Okay, let's resize the string. Which one can we resize? Let's resize the one for episode. Okay, episode is too long, but let's resize it to something small. So what are we going to do? We are going to do the same. So I'm going to say episode dot resize. Now resize expect a single parameter as an integer value to limit the number of characters for that particular string. So for me, I'm going to say 15. Oh, sorry, I'm going to say 15. So definitely I'll copy, because I already have this. I would love to see what it really gives me after resizing. Okay, I think guys can do for me that. Then maybe lastly, what did we have here? We have capacity, we have shrink to fit. Guys will do for me those, but let me do capacity. So here I can work for both. I can say the size of what? The size of episode. The size of episode is, okay, so we are going to see. So it's gonna be episode dot capacity. Okay, then how about my sample? Now definitely it's going to pick this. I'm assuming, but we are going to see how it behaves that way. The size of my sample is my sample dot capacity. Wow, so ladies and gentlemen, I think we should go to the kitchen and do some cooking. Control A, Control V, we run. Oh, we have an error on line 28. Back to the kitchen. Oh, capacity is a function. Okay, capacity is a function, so mark that, guys, because errors are human. Okay, so what is this programming language? We'll say C++. I think it's very evident here. See, one character has been deleted. Then here we resized to that. The size of is 42 is 4. Yeah, I think it is working. Okay, that is nice. Okay, once again, you know, we said things work perfectly with examples. So I want us to have a question. Write a program that will allow a sentence. Okay, then count the number of vowels in the sentence. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that? Okay, we capture a sentence from the user, then we count the number of vowels. Okay, so you can modify the above program to count the spaces too in the sentence. Wow. Modify the above program to count the spaces too in the sentence. Okay, we thought about that. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Programmers Life. You can reach me out on WhatsApp +256-751-824973 for any questions, and I will be glad to interact with you. Allow me sign out.